Yo, what's up, dudes? I got my main man, John Finn here. John, welcome to the basement. Yeah. Let's talk about your guitar a little bit.
Okay.
As we talked off camera, you know my love for Ibanez is deep and strong. I love Ibanez. And this is an S-type, it looks to me, looking at the body.
Yep.
But it's cool. It's neck through. And you've been an Ibanez artist. I noticed they even got your little name up here right on the headstock. Yeah. How long have you been with Ibanez now?
I've been working with Ibanez since 1993.
Wow.
Yeah. They that was a funny story. Stuart Ham was doing a solo tour, and I got asked to come in and play a set opening for them.
Okay.
And and at the time, my band was still kind of coming up, and Stuart, was at the peak of his career because he'd been touring with Joe Satriani forever. So everything he did would turn to gold.
Right.
So
I saw Stu Ham with Satriani on Satriani's first tour. They played the Channel.
Yeah. Wow.
And I saw Stu Ham with Joe Satriani in February of '88. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'd seen him a few times up to that point, so he was already my hero. But anyway, so this was going to be a pretty big gig. So the night before we played that show, we had booked a show like just way outside of Boston at this place called Edible Rex in Billerica.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah, Edible Rex. Yeah.
All right.
I remember them.
So, and one of the reasons why we were practicing so hard was because we had heard a rumor that the Ibanez rep was going to be at the Stuart Ham show.
All right.
So I'm thinking I've already got my plans. Right. So, the plan was, we go play the show at Edible Rex as a warm up for the one that counts.
Right.
Okay. So this guy shows up, and I don't want to say his name. He hasn't been with us. He hasn't been with Ibanez for many, many years. Really sweetheart of a guy, but he was, so this guy shows up at Edible Rex, and he's stinking drunk, and he loves the band. He's all by himself, and he's like, I fucking love you guys. I love you guys. You guys are the shit, man. You guys are fucking awesome. And then he hands me his card. Right before he leaves, and he's the rep from Ibanez,
right?
And he just kind of he just blew into that club just completely out of chance,
right?
And this was the guy that we were prepping for to meet with the following night,
right?
But he shows up that night and offered me a deal on the spot.
Wow.
And I had been playing Ibanez guitars already quite a lot.
The only other brand I think I've seen you play was you had a Blue Kramer at one point.
Yeah.
And again, this is 88, 89, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And at this time, Ibanez is on fire.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Ibanez was, they were
were number one, yeah.
They had, it's so funny because Kramer comes out and Kramer just slaughters. They're the number one.
Yeah.
But then they burn like a bright star. They just burn out so fast. By 1990, they're dead.
Yeah.
And Ibanez went right in and filled that void.
Yeah.
And became like the rock guitar to own.
Well, they did a few things. See, one of the things too is that, Ibanez started as a company that was. That was sort of known for copying other instruments and doing a really good job. They quickly got out of that game and got into and they've been doing
no
this
small part from Gibson putting a little pressure on them, but but they knew it, but they milked it for a few years, earned enough capital
they were smart
to keep themselves going.
One of the things that they did was they started designing instruments that were like sort of their of their own designs.
The artist.
And inspired by some of the instruments that came before them, but also different.
The Ibanez artist. I got one.
Yeah,
I got one right here. You know, this is a 1980
Yeah.
Ibanez, maple top, mahogany neck through design, very similar to a Les Paul ebony fingerboard.
Yeah, but there's some things about that instrument.
Oh, and it's got
it's got the switches.
Oh, yeah.
The bridge assembly is of an entirely different philosophy.
Yeah. It's got the nice volute on the back of the headstock. No snapped headstock. Sorry, Gibson lovers.
Yeah.
Well, who am I kidding? We both. You have a Les Paul, right?
Yeah.
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 So.
You have them as part of your collection.
Exactly.
But the
But this looks relatively new. This isn't what they gave you in in the early 90s.
No, this one they gave me, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, really? So it's that recent? Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
why don't you turn it? Why don't you lift it up? Let's show them the back of it.
All right.
If you can.
Okay. So this is this one. It's an alder body.
Oh, alder. Interesting.
Like the middle strip. The middle strip, I think is rosewood.
Okay.
Or I'm actually not sure. These middle pieces here are, I believe, maple.
They look maple to me.
And what we were going for with this instrument was, we wanted tone woods, and we wanted, a neck through design and 22 frets.
Are you sure that's not mahogany?
No, I'm not sure.
That looks like mahogany to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this is mahogany, maple, mahogany, maple, mahogany.
Yeah, that might be right.
And the reason why I think they were using mahogany, because alder is a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
And you'd get neck droop.
Yeah.
Because this body is so thin.
Yeah.
So part of the design when they were coming up with the S was they used a denser wood. They used mahogany to keep that thing balanced. So you wouldn't get the neck droop.
Yep. So so that was the main thing. Most of the this is considered an S style body.
Yeah.
Now most of the S style bodies have 24 frets.
Right.
Okay, this one has 22. And the reason why I asked for 22 in this one is because I wanted the pickup poles for the bridge pickup to be right under where that harmonic would be.
Gotcha.
Okay, because if you do that, then when you go into the bridge pickup, it's a much sweeter tone that you get from that. See what I mean? I mean, it's just a very sweet, it's a very sweet tone from the bridge pickup.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful. And it's got a beautiful look to it. I love the binding.
Yeah,
I like these. And I haven't really seen these on too many guitars. This almost seems unique to your guitar. This oval with the slice that looks like mother of pearl with an abalone on the inside, rosewood fingerboard. And would the Duncan pick up stock, or was that something you put in?
No, that was something that I asked him to put in.
Okay. And what do you got?
So this pickup here is a JB pickup.
Okay.
This is a duckbucker, so it's a humbucker. It's a humbucker pickup that is sitting in the size of a single coil.
Right.
But behaves closer. It's a little darker sounding than a single coil. Sure. But not quite as dark as a real full size humbucker.
Right.
Not quite as much output, but closer.
Okay.
And then this is the Pearly Gates.
Oh, okay.
Because,
which is a PAF.
Yeah.
I forget if it's a slightly hotter or a slightly more vintage PAF, but I think it's a PAF at its core, the Pearly Gates.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And then then it's 5-position switch.
And it's a I made the mistake. I thought it was a locking trem when you first got here, but it's actually not a locking trem.
It's not a locking trem. So, it does sacrifice those locking trem dive bombs that I used to do a lot, but, it still works.
Yeah.
One thing that's really sort of nice about it is that the whammy bar assembly, it sits on ball bearings.
Okay.
Rather than a knife edge.
All right.
And the big reason for that is that there's literally nothing that can wear out.
Right.
You know,
Because
so,
it's such a large surface area.
yeah.
Where it's moving versus
Right.
that tight surface area
Right.
where it's, constantly
Right.
wearing down. Yeah.
Yeah, and it works. I mean, the bar itself works great.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I mean, these are locking tuners,
Oh, okay.
but the locking tuners never work as well as a locking nut.
Yeah.
But the locking nut, is going to be a tone killer.
We go in and out on it. My whole thing about the Floyd Rose works. All right. I think we can all agree that when you clamp between here and here, that string has no place to go. So
Right.
it does work. My main annoyance is that the plates eventually can slip a little bit, and you get microscopic slippage between this little rack up here and this rack down here. So you're going, and then you're out of tune, but there's enough tension here that you can't bend your way back in tune.
Right.
Right. And you've got, now you're loosening. Right. Now you're going through the rigmarole because
Right.
you're out of play down here. You're all the way to the end. You're like, I can't tighten up. All right, now you're backing off. Where's my wrench? Now I'm loosening up. Now I'm going through it again. And over time, if you look over there, what do I got? 2, maybe 3 guitars with the locking nut, and the rest I don't. I sort of have gravitated slowly away from the locking nut. I used to be just, if it didn't have a locking nut, I wasn't interested in it because I always, I loved the whammy bar, and it's like it was always going out of tune, and it was the way that's like, well, this is the technology, right? It's like, well, this is what I want to get. But then after a while, there's annoyances when it goes out of tune, and you're constantly fumbling for wrenches. They're no fun to change strings on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of downsides to it. Sometimes you just want to tune a guitar without having to go through that. And like you say, there can be tone issues. I mean, I think it depends on the nut, but the cheaper ones are made of cheaper metal, and it's like, unless you're spending the money and getting something like really nice, it's really well made.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's no cutting the nut, right? So the nut is the nut is the nut. The only way you can really work it is mainly by you changing the platform height, and then you've got to shim if you go too low. I mean, the whole host. Now you're down the rabbit hole,
Right.
right? And so I think that I go back and forth on it, but for the most part, I'm leaning as I get older towards the more hassle-free. This is a roller, and it doesn't work very well. It's Mets.
Well, what I mean, my solution is I keep a guitar. I've got a green S that has a it's actually the 25th anniversary model of the S model guitar.
Okay.
And I keep one of those with me on the gig as well as this.
Right.
So if I'm going to play a tune that uses a lot of whammy bar stuff, I'm going to go to that guitar and play it on that.
Right.
This one, I was looking for just a more mature, more refined instrument.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's very.
Thank you.
We have a joke. That looks good on you. Makes you look kind of sophisticated. That's been a running joke for like 3 years with some friends. Wow, that looks good on you, man. Makes you look kind of sophisticated.
Thank you.
And it does. It does. It looks awesome. Like I said, I love the binding on an Ibanez.
Yeah.
The whole thing and I like the neck through, and it's got that beautiful Ibanez neck that everyone loves.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to go to other guitars once you played an Ibanez neck, I think, because they're so silky,
Yeah, well, and this one, I was looking for I was looking for an instrument that would cover, roughly the middle ground between Stratocaster and Les Paul.
Right.
So wasn't looking for Les Paul tone or behavior, but not Strat tone or behavior either, but just sort of right in between.
Yeah.
So, again, part of the solution was a 22 fret neck so I could get the pickup where it needed to be.
Right.
Humbuckers on the outer sides, and then the ability to add that middle pickup to the 2 outsides.
Right.
And that seems to work pretty well. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
there's some nice
sounds
things
great.
that it does. You know, but when I go to the middle settings, there's quite a bit of a volume drop.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Same here.
so that's the only
Yeah.
you know, that's the only downside. But
That's when you're running a compressor 24/7.
well, you know, you keep one in the loop for exactly that reason.
Yeah, exactly. Let's wrap this up in a little bit, but before we do, I know you did something with TrueFire recently. Didn't
Yep.
you do something?